With the final days of the season ahead, the race to fill remaining tags is coming to the finish line. The conditions in the Midwest are nearly perfect for anyone with a good food source. On the afternoon of January 2nd, Mike Reed and daughter Bella head to the home farm to continue the hunt for Bella's number one target, a buck she's named Patient X.
Well, it's Sunday, January 2nd, and we are back at the home farm after Patient X. Got Bella in the blind, and we have little sister Anna Catherine with us too. This is Anna's first time out this year, and we're hoping that Patient X will make an appearance tonight. Conditions could not be more perfect. We have below zero temperatures. We got clear bluebird skies, super high pressure. There were turkeys out in the field when we got here. Just a day you dream of for late season hunting. We're hunting over this couple acres of standing beans. And the last two times we were out here, Patient X showed up. 2 sits ago, he was at 62 yards and didn't quite get close enough. And then the next time we came, which was 2 days ago, he came out after legal shooting, and he actually came in to 30 yards. He came in perfect, so I'm hoping tonight he comes in earlier and does what he did, comes into 30 yards. Got a couple hours left to go. Fingers are crossed.
Anything you want to add?
I'm not shooting any other deer unless it's a Patient X, period.
Period. There's a couple of them. No, that's just our screen that went off. That's him coming out. Same place he was the first time we saw him. See how cautious he is. There's Anna's buck. He's looking at Anna's buck. I mean, just looking like right here at his body compared to Patient X. He's smaller. Yeah. He's at 60. I'm trying to let him get as close as he'll get, okay? Those does. Well, another close call. The deer started really pouring out with about, I think it was 45 or 50 minutes to go. And both Patient X and Anna's buck both walked out. He came out where he did 2 encounters ago. It's like right at 62 yards. And as I said last time, it's just a little bit far. And even though Bella's been practicing quite a bit at 70 and 80 yards, we were hoping, and in the past what the deer do, they normally filter down this way and then feed out into the cut beans. But for whatever reason, they haven't been doing that this year. I keep thinking if we encounter him enough times, he's gonna, come closer to the blind. But instead, he walked farther away, and he sat at 80 yards, 80, 90 yards for 30 minutes, and then he gave us a little glimmer of hope. I thought he picked up his head and kind of started walking this direction, but then he ended up turning and going back in some of the turnips back there. We were saying that this was going to be Bella's last sit of the year, but we'll see. We might be able to get out one more time during the week this week. We may try to just let her try to get that deer down, but that's 3 sits in a row out of this blind that he comes out.
7 sits in total.
This was sit number 8.
Oh my gosh, I'm not counting correctly.
Otherwise this week, I think Ryan and I are going to be out, probably spend some time down at the River Bottom Farm, and I'm going to try to find a buck to shoot.
With ideal conditions and the final days numbered, Jared Mills heads back to the river farm, hoping that this afternoon ends his streak of bad luck.
Hey guys, it's January 3rd, and we are continuing the quest for old Marino this afternoon. I've got Gavin with me, and we actually decided to hunt a different field, more in Marino's typical core area. I don't have a great feeling of seeing him tonight. I still think he's probably bedding up. If he's on here, he's probably bedding up in the peninsula, which is where we've been hunting him. But with this south wind, I wanted to try this. Haven't hunted out here for a little while or hunted this end. Like I said, historically, this is where he spent more time, just not as recent. A lot of beans left out here. There's a lot of tracks out in the beans, and the snow's only been here for like a day and a half, so there's definitely deer in here. The thing I don't know is there's not as much bedding really close to this field, so a lot of this could be after dark activity when the deer finally get to this spot. So we'll see. Obviously, again, number 1 target is Marino, but there are some bucks that I would like to shoot, some mature deer that I would like to shoot off this property between now and the end of the season if I can get a shot at them. The main reason, 1, they're mature deer, but 2, we have quite a few good up and coming bucks, and anytime that's the case, you like to try to make room and do everything that you can in your power to encourage those bucks to take up residence here and spend more time here. And as you know, on a particular property, there's only so much room for so many mature deer. So I would rather have room for some of those good 4-year-olds, like that DK buck and that buck we're calling JT, and some of those other deer that should be really good bucks next year, even the 3 to 4-year-olds. Make room for them and get rid of some of these quote-unquote management bucks, these older mature deer, and settle in and see what happens. We got probably 2.5 hours left. Yeah. They do love those this time of year.
As Jared settles in for the afternoon, just a mile to the south, Mike Reed is heading to a bean field, hoping to catch up with a mature buck.
Well, it's Monday, January 3rd. Ryan and I are back down on the River Bottom Farm. Sit number 2 for me down here this late muzzleloader season. We're on the far south end of my chunk of ground. We got the river just to our south, a lot of bedding along the river. The central timber is right behind us, and then I've got a peninsula off to the west that holds a lot of deer this time of year. The primary mature buck that I'm looking for tonight is the one we call the Big 8. I filmed him right here in late season last year, and once earlier in the year actually on my little south turnip plot. And then Ryan and I filmed him this year just 30 yards behind us in this stand that's in the central timber. And he's a deer that's been consistently on camera, particularly I have a camera on a scrape here in the central timber. He's been on that a lot. And sometimes he comes out to the beans on this side of the central timber, sometimes he goes out to the other side. So he's the primary one that I think we'll see tonight, and if we see him, I'll take a shot at him. We're gonna sit back and enjoy the afternoon. We've got a couple hours left to go.
Well, it's about 3:45 right now, and we've got 2 mature bucks in the field. Problem is, they're at the very other end, which is about 150 yards away. And so early in the hunt, it's a good sign that we should see some more bucks too. I've been kicking the idea of throwing the ghillie suit on and making a beeline down to that 6x6, because I really think we could get it done just based on the wind and where he's at and the amount of cover between us. But I'm also worried about the possibility of Marino's coming out tonight and not wanting to end our chances too early, so I'm gonna stay put and see what happens. A few of the deer kind of working this way. I don't know if they really have a reason to come all the way down here. It's all the same food, but it's definitely early enough in the night that we're gonna let things play out. 6x6 is walking away from us. That's Rob. We have 3 mature bucks out there. This deer kind of rolling through the beans pretty quick. I don't know why. Let's just see what he looks like next year. JT buck. That was cool.
Oh, yeah, I see him now. Yeah.
It's him, isn't it?
Yeah. Now he's coming out.
Imagine that. He's left with a cottonwood now.
Yeah.
Well, that might be the best hunt I've ever had on the river farm. You know, looking back, you know, maybe the Andrew Luck hunt ending in a kill was a little bit better, but it was an incredible night. I can barely think of any deer we didn't see as far as all the bucks we know. Just unreal how, obviously we have good visibility from that blind, but every deer was up and up early. Of course, as you saw, we did see Marino, and he came somewhere from the other redneck, that area where I've been hunting him. So of course that's going to happen, but it was good to see him confirm that. We're trying to make a game plan for going in tomorrow. But even all the other bucks, seeing DK, seeing the 6x6, we almost got a shot at that deer. He followed DK to the south and just didn't quite come into bow range. I think it's probably 55, 60 yards. Watching him walk off DK there for a brief moment was pretty cool. And all the other deer we saw, it was just one of those nights that it just gets you pretty pumped up and kind of rejuvenates you a little bit on why you do this, and just getting to watch that was pretty incredible. I mean, Gavin and I have talked about it, you know, multiple times since we've got out of the field. Just an incredible night. Gavin, you know, thought that might be the most deer he's ever seen in his life. So pretty cool when you can have a night like that. It makes all the off-season work and all the time you put into having a good late season food source worth it. But now it's time to go back to the drawing board and see how we can get on Marino tomorrow night. It's not as good conditions, going to warm up quite a bit, but similar wind direction. So I'm going to try to probably get aggressive tomorrow afternoon. Talk to Mike. Mike might come hunt as well. So maybe try to figure out a game plan on where we can both set up. So incredible night. Obviously didn't end in a kill, but it's just an awesome night of hunting. Probably my best night of the season by far.
Going into the hunt, Mike and Jared had devised a plan that they believed could finally bring Marino to the ground. On the afternoon of January 4th, they both head into the river farm, going to separate locations, hoping to increase the odds.
Well, Ryan and I just got down to the river bottom farm, doing something a little unconventional tonight. We're gonna set up in 2 separate trees. We're gonna do a hanging hunt on the north turnip plot near where Jared hunted last night. Doing an interview here at the truck because I want to be able to get in there and get quiet, and then we're going to be separated by a good distance. Rye's going to get in the stand that's on the turnips. That's where Jared shot black-eyed 10 last year, and I'm just going to move to a separate tree. I think that's going to give us a little bit better opportunity to stay hidden. I'm going to set up my stand on the backside so I can stand behind the trunk. That's going to be our biggest risk tonight with all the eyes, is staying hidden. I've stayed out of this farm for the most part. This is my 6th hunt out here this year and my first of the late season. I've really wanted Jared to be able to catch up with Marino, so I've not wanted to disrupt him at all. He and I have been talking the last few days, and he's getting down more in the pinch tonight, trying to catch up with him. He seems like he's bedded down in the peninsula and coming out. He saw him again last night, as you guys saw on the blog, so we felt that me coming in here, making a sit up on the north end wouldn't really affect anything, and maybe I can lay eyes or get a shot at that 6x6. Otherwise, this is basically our last south wind of the season. We have 4 more days to hunt. See, 4 more? We have 3 more days to hunt, and they're all west-northwest winds, so that's basically going to eliminate hunting this north end of this farm. So figured 1 more sit, and then if I don't get anything tonight, I'm going to shift back to shooting that big 8 on my piece south of here. We're gonna get headed in, get this stand hung, and hopefully make it happen.
Let's do it.
All right, let's try this.
All right, it's January 4th. I'm gonna try to keep this short and sweet. We decided to go ahead and get aggressive on Marino tonight and move up in here. Brought stands and sticks. Found this oak tree to hang in. It's definitely not ideal. These trees are just so big around here. Climbed halfway up one. Realized it wasn't gonna work. Came down here. Had to cut down a tree. But hopefully we didn't do too much damage. I can see deer milling around in here. It warmed up a lot today, but a strong south wind is what we need to get in here, so maybe not ideal conditions, but this may be the last opportunity to do it before we got headed to the ATA show. So we decided to go all in tonight. Mike actually came down to hunt here too. He's further north than I am, closer to where we hunted last night and saw those bucks. And then Gavin and I are down here close to the pinch, kind of hunting along the slough right here. If he walks this path over here, which is where I cut down the tree to be able to shoot, we should be in the chips. I know he's come out somewhere in here at least a couple of times. So let's hope he does it tonight.
Unfortunately for the two hunters, the warmer temps lead to slower movement than the previous evening. It seems at this point that the legendary buck may live to see yet another season. As the end of legal time approaches, Mike believes he catches a glimpse of Marino, but with darkness closing in, his cameraman wasn't able to capture any footage. The evening following the two-sided attack, Mike Reed heads back to the large bean field on his river bottom piece, about a mile from where he hunted the previous evening.
Well, it's about 2:30 on Wednesday, January 5th, and Ryan and I are back down at the River Bottom Farm on my piece. We're in here after the Big 8. We're sitting over this standing bean field, this food plot we hunted during that blizzard. That was back on January 1st. And we saw probably 40 deer that night. The best one was a 4-year-old, and I still haven't really looked at the footage of that last buck, but Rye's pretty convinced that was the Big 8 that came out. Hoping for a repeat tonight. Be exciting to see him. That deer, I think, is at least a 6.5-year-old, and one I would love to take out of here. The conditions have changed significantly from yesterday. Temperature's about 10 degrees with 25 to 30 mile per hour winds. So the real feel is around -10 right now, and it's going to get colder as the evening progresses. Really brisk west wind, which sets up great for this spot. We just had our first few deer come out into the plot, which is, I think now we are up to 4. I wasn't really expecting it this early. It's only 2:30, but I thought these high winds might suppress the movement a little bit, but this high pressure and cold temps, I think, is going to push them out here. So hopefully we have a good sit and we can get the Big 8 on the ground.
Dude, there's like 9 deer in this frame right now. All the way to
I know, they're all on a pile. That tent is nice looking. Well, it's about 3 o'clock now, and we actually had 12 deer feed out at 2:35. They started feeding out right during my last interview, and one of them was that real pretty 10. He's a 3 or 4-year-old. I was kind of leaning towards him being 4 earlier in the year. And then the other one was JT. That was the best 2 bucks. A bunch of young bucks and a couple does. And they fed for about 30 minutes. Then something got them worked up and they just went back in the timber. But I can see them in there. They're not too far in. So it's nice to see that early movement. Hopefully it continues and we get one of the shooters out here. See deer back in the timber. There we go. They're slowly but surely.
Are these does working out right in front of us? Yeah, they're does. It's like 4 or 5 deer straight out in front of us in the weeds. All pretty.
The sunlight is just awesome. It's crazy.
He's impressive, man.
Dang, I just love big frames. It's a lot of fun. What deer is that? That deer's heavy. What deer is that? Dude, that might be Marino.
Like it is.
I can't pass him. I can't believe he came out over here. I cannot believe he's out over here. I can't pass that deer. Never in a million years did I think he'd come out down here. God. Alright, that doe's about to clear. Looks to me like I'm gonna try to wait for a better shot. 100%. That's a nice process shot. I think I'm gonna shoot him right there, okay? Alright, I'm on him.
Mike, he just went down.
Huh?
He went down.
Did he go straight down?
He took like 2 steps and went down. I saw a big pile of snow flash up. I'm pretty sure I just put Marino down. We're sitting down here on my farm, south of Jared and I's, hunting this big 8. And we're just having a heck of a hunt. I mean, the deer are just pouring out. And I've never had Marino down here, not once, ever. You know, he's been coming out so consistently to the north on Jared and I's farm. We're looking out at the field, and I'm like, every deer's coming out. And we saw that deer DK, and we've been filming him for an hour. All of a sudden, I just see this real heavy buck. I was like, man, that's a mature buck. Looks like a shooter. And you never know what's going to move in here. Oh, God, I'm shaking bad. The reality is setting in of what just happened. But I said to Raz, like, man, is that Marino? And he's like, I think it is him. And we've got more history with that deer than any other deer I've ever known or hunted. I mean, it's I don't feel bittersweet about many deer, but I sort of feel bittersweet about this. We're gonna look back at the footage and then go take a walk over there and take a look at him. He came on this side of the flat screen. I see him right there. He's dead right there. There's blood right here. Oh my God. It's crazy, man. He's right there. Look how heavy he is. God. What a crazy deer.
There he is. The old legend.
The old legend. And his antlers didn't pop off when he hit the ground. Yeah, I thought for sure.
I thought about that. I worked there.
What a crazy thing. What a crazy thing.
Old bruiser.
What a wild and surprising finish to my 2021 season and the story of Marino. I purchased this farm last year in 2020 when it came up for auction, and it's just south of Jared and I's piece. I've never have encountered Marino down here or ever had pictures of him. It's on the south border of Jared and I's place, and Marino always was to the north and to the east off of our farm, and occasionally would be on the farm throughout the season, but usually it was a late season thing. If we had food, he'd move in. And this year was very similar to 2019. We worked pretty hard to get food both on Jared and I's piece and on my new piece. And you know, he was doing what he did in 19, spending a lot of time on Jared and I's place. And
pretty surprising. I was down here hunting the big 8, and then out steps Marino in about the most ideal conditions you could ask for in late season. A lot of history with this deer. We started hunting this area back in 2017 and encountered him on our first hunt, and it's been a 5-year saga trying to catch up with him. He proved to be quite the menace, particularly after the floods in 18. He moved off the farm and didn't come around very often, so it's pretty nice to be able to get the story of Marino closed. You know, he was shot by the neighbor this year, and last year pretty unhealthy, shedding early in December, and we weren't sure we'd ever catch up with him. And it feels pretty good to finally end the story.
Well, another close call. Both patient X and Anna's buck both walked out. We were saying that this was going to be Bella's last sit of the year, but we'll see. We might be able to get out one more time during the week this week.
Well, that might be the best hunt I've ever had on the river farm. You know, looking back, you know, maybe the Andrew Luck hunt ending in a kill was a little bit better, but it was an incredible night. I can barely think of any deer we didn't see as far as all the bucks we know.
What deer is that? Dude, that might be Marino. Like it is.
Like, he just went down.
Huh?
He went down.
Did it go straight down?
He took like 2 steps and went down.
These last few days have left us with some of the greatest memories, not only of this season, but of all time. Topping the list is the harvest of the legendary buck Marino. It has been a saga that has exceeded the length of any deer story we have ever told. 5 years, many encounters, thousands of trail camera photos, and one name that will be forever etched in our minds. The season is winding down, less than 10 days remain. As hunters across the country begin calling it a year, dreams start shifting to next season, when God willing, we will once again be chasing November.